Fox 61 News begins with breaking news.
Well, good evening, and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Jen Bernstein.
And I'm Ben Goldman. We are following breaking news here involving former President Donald Trump. Multiple reports coming out just moments ago say that a New York grand jury has voted to indict the former president.
Fox 61's political reporter Emma Wolfhorst in the studio right now with the very latest. Emma.
Yeah, Jen, Ben, like you said, sources are saying that Manhattan grand jury voted today to indict Donald Trump. This would make him the first former president to face criminal charges. This all relating to Trump's role in hush money payments to a porn star back in 2016 that took place during his presidential campaign. Now, Trump is currently in Florida at his golf club Mar-a-Lago with aides saying right now he's absorbing this information. I also saw some saying that this came as a shock to them. They didn't expect it to happen today. Trump is still the subject of 3 other criminal investigations. We're looking at reaction right now, trying to figure out where we go from here. Now, is there more? The Trump indictment, yeah, it comes following this case with that porn star, Stormy Daniels. We told you multiple sources, New York Times and even CNN, are saying that he will be indicted, like I said, for his role with those hush money payments back in 2016. It still remains unclear, though, as to what the exact charges he will face will be. As I said before, again, Trump is the first former president in American history to face these criminal charges. Jen and Ben, I'll send it back to you.
Okay, Emma, look, this is news that we were anticipating, the possibility of this coming down and this all happening again today.
Yeah, joining us right now on the phone to talk about this breaking news is criminal defense attorney Jim Bergen. Jim, thanks for joining us here.
Jim.
Can you hear us?
Glad to. Very interesting, that's for sure.
It is. So tell us what this means if a grand jury votes to indict him. What are the implications of that?
Well, that just means that they've heard enough evidence. They independently voted that there is probable cause to believe that this crime happened. Then it goes into the hands of the prosecutor. The prosecutor in this instance, and in almost most white collars, they end up dealing with the defense attorneys to arrange for what's the right way to do it. And there still are some basic things that will happen. He's going to have to come. He's going to get fingerprinted, photographed. But I'm not sure they're going to go through that ritual of handcuffing. Usually that's done, but with something like this, the idea of handcuffing is really unnecessary. It does remind me, though, that decades ago when Giuliani was the prosecutor, he insisted on arranging for handcuffing for the white-collar cases, many of which, weren't like black and white cases. And most of us who do defense work saw that as really a violation of the principle of innocent until proven guilty. So here, I don't think they're going to go through that. In fact, it would seem to me that the defendant in this particular case might sort of get off on the fact that he's cuffed and treated this way by these crazy liberal Democrats, the way he's looking at it. But the routine is you just get told of the offense, you have to come in, you get your warning. And now the one tricky thing is almost everyone, like 99% of people, just get extradited or just come on his own. It's going to be a mess because then DeSantis has actually got to get him to come. But I just don't see that happening. He'll be coming and he'll be getting out. And then then it's all about confirmation bias, frankly. Most of the people who are watching this right now have an opinion. Now, the law is pretty straightforward. You look at the facts, you apply the law, and this is not strange a case.
Jim, what exactly would the charges be for this hush money payment?
Yeah, what's he looking at?
Yeah, well, honestly, since that has not yet come out, it would be not responsible for me to just say more than what everybody's been reading about and coming out. But I haven't seen the actual charges. They seem, by virtue of who's been coming in and leaving, to be focused on the payment for the porn star, and that they've got all the phone calls from Cohen, and Cohen's pled out to it. And then it's going to come down to them attacking Cohen's credibility. But there is not much doubt that there is probable cause that when you pay somebody right at this time in this amount, and then you call it legal work, when it's not legal work, that's That's a crime.
Jim, here's a question. I mean, obviously, so much of this is unprecedented, right? A former president being indicted on criminal charges. What happens now? We're in the midst of, him looking at a run for re-election here. Can someone who's, I don't even know if you know the answers to this, but can someone who's indicted run for president? Can they be a candidate for president? Can they be a nominee if they are incarcerated? Can you still run for president? I mean, the legal barriers to run for president, what is it? A certain amount of years of being a citizen and then being a certain amount of years old. It's very, very basic.
That's it.
That's it, right?
Right, you'd have to be.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Well, but here's what it comes down to. It is a robust democracy. It's a robust democracy that has limitations, but those limitations are precise. And if there is no limit, then you're free. So if we want to choose to elect a criminal as a president, he's going to be our president.
I know there was that recent Quinnipiac poll that was talking about if Trump was indicted, and I think it was over 50% of people that were polled said that they did not think that he should run for president if he was going to be indicted. So the information that we're getting right now is that the president is in Mar-a-Lago. He's taking in this information, and I know our producers are working really hard back there. I'll be curious if some of the live cameras pop up, people on watch at Mar-a-Lago or maybe at Trump Towers in New York City. If we get some of those images, we will certainly bring them to you. But Jim, just talk about the impact of this, because former President Trump would be the first president in our history to face criminal charges, and that's wild.
Well, the answer to that is in the eye of the beholder. The first thing you did is you cite a poll. There really is no informed answer by an experienced criminal defense attorney that really matters to. Your question is, well, what are the implications sort of to our country? Well, that's up to the voters to decide. And everybody who's got an opinion is going to express themselves vigorously. As far as the criminal case is concerned, the prosecutor just looks at the evidence and then presents it, tries to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. You do have to have a unanimous verdict, and so jury selection will be very important. But I believe that based on the evidence I've seen, if the jurors uphold their oath to follow the facts and follow the law, there's a serious risk of a conviction. But if he's convicted, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get a prison term. I think other than what some people believe is a life of crime, he has a life of no crime, right? He doesn't have any prior convictions. So, and there's no physical violence. In fact, here's an interesting piece of law. In New York, they're not even allowed to impose bond. In other words, he's going to go out on his own recognizance, meaning I recognize my obligations and I will come. In other words, a promise to appear. I'm not concerned that he's ultimately going to go to jail, but I am concerned that this trial could take place well before the election.
Interesting.
And it's just getting started.
Yeah. Jim Bergen, criminal defense attorney, always appreciate you coming on and sharing your expertise with this major breaking news that we are following here on Fox 61 and around the country.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, good to talk to you.
All right, let's move along here. In other news, new tonight, the medical examiner has ruled the drowning of a 17-year-old Benjamin Payton Jr. from Waterbury was an accident.
Yeah, Benny was running from police when he drowned in Lakewood Lake on Tuesday. Fox 61's New Haven County Bureau reporter Julia LeBlanc has more from the North End Recreation Center.
This has been a tough pill for the community to swallow, even harder for those who knew and loved Benny. They hosted a vigil here last night at the rec center, spelling out his name with those candles. And his friends say he had so much ahead of him. In the place where Benny Jr. spent a lot of time playing basketball, now lies a memorial for the 17-year-old.
I just wanted to see him shine.
Benny was Quadier Wilson's cousin. Today, he and his friends didn't know where else to go but here.
I wish I could see him one more time playing on this court right here.
Benny drowned in Lakewood Lake after running from Waterbury police on Tuesday. Police were patrolling the area when they found a stolen car with 4 teens in it. A 14, 16, and 17-year-old were arrested, but Benny, police say, ran into the wooded area near the reservoir and went underwater.
It was shocking. It came out of nowhere.
So they're finding familiarity here.
I asked him to help me get better. He helped me with my dribbling.
Jaciel Barrios and Corey Tyrese Hunter grew up playing basketball with Benny. They say he was good, really good.
That little shot of his was from half court too, like he a superstar.
But more than that, they say he was a good person.
Just wanted to pay him a visit, because he was really a good friend.
A friend and someone with potential.
He had a lot that some people didn't have. Just something more. How genuine he was. He was such a good soul. He was, out of all these kids in Waterbury, I feel like he's one of the most sweetest souls that you will ever meet.
And they hope every time they come here, they will meet again.
These courts right here is always going to be legendary. All of them. His name forever live on.
Now, we did reach out to Waterbury Police, and they say they're not providing any more information at this time. We are in Waterbury. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Julia, thank you. Well, a college community in disbelief tonight after learning a star athlete may have abused his girlfriend in an on-campus incident.
Fox 61's Matt Karen picks up our story live in Hamden, where students are now speaking out. Matt?
That's right, and all stars eventually collapse, including the ones who play basketball. Desmond "Desi" Jones led the Bobcats in scoring last season with an average of 13 points a game. But tonight, he's playing a much more serious game of life.
He has this huge persona for the team. Everyone loves him.
But people are not always who they seem.
I'm honestly in shock about it.
It came to a shock to me.
Shock to learn that Quinnipiac University star basketball player Desi Jones,
It's on the outside. Jones gets a look for three and
was arrested.
It's a basketball player. You really wouldn't expect that.
And you really wouldn't expect him to be charged with strangling his girlfriend, Ava Labrizzi, a cheerleader.
a lot of people are posting it on Instagram and Snapchat.
Bobcat Nation buzzing from Instagram and Snapchat to TikTok, where the couple has been posting together since last year.
We have a really good athletic program here, so it's definitely not a good look on us.
The university telling Fox 61 they take all Title IX incident reports with the utmost seriousness and have policies in place to ensure a thorough review of all allegations. Originally from Missouri, Jones is a junior.
Desi Jones has a team-high 21, and he gets the layup to go.
His intention, to transfer to Tennessee next season to play for Austin Peay State University. Hamden police put Jones into handcuffs Tuesday night following an incident on campus.
And then on the side that this was happening, that he was hurting his girlfriend, it was just really scary to find out.
And Fox 61 has also learned tonight that Jones isn't the only one facing charges. His girlfriend is also being charged with disorderly conduct. They will both appear in court in June. We're live here in Hamden. Matt Karen, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.